Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back guys for what is going to be nothing short of an exciting Cardano ADA video. It's been a little while since we've covered ADA, however, we want to be back today with a bang, and we're going to break this video down into two parts. We're going to look at a really exciting event that is coming in 2025, and that of course is the midnight distribution across, I believe it's 8 networks. We're going to kick the video off by looking at Charles Hoskinson talking about this, and what it's essentially instantly going to do. Now, Midnight is Cardano's sort of privacy layer, if you will. That's a good way to look at it. And the need for privacy, certainly when we talk about institutional adoption, is there. It's important that perhaps internal transactions, things like payrolls, these sort of things are more discreet than perhaps the on-chain world currently is. So there needs to be a kind of roll-up. It is, of course, on-chain, but there needs to be a kind of concealing element to certainly traditional financial transactions, and I think Midnight could offer that. So we're going to start the video off there. It's very interesting because it's getting distributed to 8 networks that all basically will have to funnel back to Cardano to benefit from the distribution. But we are going to start the video off there, and then we're going to dive into price action. I'm going to show you 3 charts. We're going to look at 4 charts. One, of course, is BTC. That's going to set the pace for the market more broadly. But we're going to show you 3 charts that have me pretty excited about Cardano's future and should get you guys pretty excited about Cardano's future. The first chart is ADA USD. The second one is ADA Dominance. And the third one is ADA BTC. And they're all pointing in the same direction and very much reenacting history once again. So strap yourselves in. I'll also relate where Cardano is in regards to market cap to all of this. I think it's going to do very well. In fact, we'll start off there through grace of it being a top 10 cryptocurrency. It's a top 8 cryptocurrency, obviously barring stable coins like USDT and Tether, or USDC and Tether. But Cardano is a top 10. It's likely going to benefit from what is around the corner, and that is crypto index funds. So Bitwise have one at the moment. Grayscale have one. And a number of others have one out there, and Cardano is pretty much a part of all of them, and that's through grace of its market cap positioning. And if you look at like the stock market, when stocks make it into the S&P 500, they really benefit from a price point of view. Typically, obviously, it depends on what market conditions you're under, with the kind of passive inflows that go into those funds as a whole. You know, when you're buying the S&P 500, you're buying 500 stocks or a piece of 500 stocks, and it's all weighted slightly differently. This, of course, is coming, and it's one thing that has me so bullish on the crypto space. We're on the cusp of all of this. This is still to come, and Cardano is going to be a great beneficiary of that. Let's talk about Midnight. And this is an event not enough people are excited about, because what this could do is bring a hell of a lot of users from other ecosystems into Cardano. Ecosystems like XRP, AVAX, Solana, etc., etc. So let's kick the video off there before we dive into price action. And then we'll get into 3 Cardano-specific charts that have me pretty excited about the future and all point, in my opinion, to Cardano seeing some pretty decent upside in the coming months and throughout the remainder of whatever this cycle looks like. Let's dive into these videos from Charles about Midnight.
Coming months, we're going to do an airdrop to 37 million people in 8 networks. So if you hold Bitcoin or Ether or Cardano or XRP, congratulations, Ripple, Solana and a few others, you'll get a drop. So everybody gets a taste. Second, you have to have chain abstraction. It means that if you're in any of these networks, you can use Midnight and pay for it with your own cryptocurrency, Ether, ADA, or Bitcoin, whatever you have.
Midnight is being distributed to 37 million accounts. After we did the cutoff, 8 blockchains: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, Cardano, and so forth, okay, including XRP as well. And that means that all those users have to come to Cardano to redeem a CNA. 37 million. That is 13 times the size of all of the active addresses, lifetime active addresses in Cardano. So we're increasing our user population by a theoretical 13x.
13x users on Cardano. That sounds pretty damn bullish to me. And I think Midnight could kick a lot of this off. Just be very careful, guys. I'm sure there's going to be scams going around mimicking this or pretending to be it. There's nothing official yet. Look out for your official channels, Charles Hoskinson's Twitter, obviously the Midnight Network, Twitter, et cetera, for official announcements on this. But essentially, this is going to be distributed between 8 networks, some of which being the largest, like Bitcoin. And ultimately, if people want to take part in that, they're going to have to funnel back to Cardano. And as Charles says there, that's 13x Cardano's lifetime addresses, which is huge. You don't need the 13x. 2x, 3x, 4x is fine. That's a lot. This is pretty interesting, and I think an event that not that many people are talking about. Let's dive into price action. Let's just kick things off quickly with BTC. You guys all know the drill. If you watch my daily market updates, we've got a number of technical patterns giving us confluence, meaning multiple things pointing in the same direction, towards continuation in what is very clearly an uptrend. And on the smaller time frames, we were looking at, and this falling wedge isn't just present in regards to BTC versus the US dollar, but many altcoins are all showing this falling wedge kind of pattern. This is typically a trend continuation pattern, or a reversal structure within an uptrend. So if you're in an uptrend, your pullbacks are descending. This is happening in a falling wedge-esque pattern that ultimately points to upside and generally trend continuation. It's important to start on Bitcoin because it is still the tide that rises and sinks all ships. The interesting thing I want to show you guys with ADA is that history is literally just rinse and repeating. So this was Cardano in its last, and I took part in Cardano as an investor, certainly during the 2018-19 period, and it did exceptionally well for me. And I think altcoins are generally in this stage today, and Cardano is also, and is history going to rinse and repeat in regards to what followed, where Cardano currently is. You know, you can see this is what we would look at as phase one. Then you get an initial run, a retest often in and around the previous resistance, which should hold you as support. And then you get continuation into what we look at as phase 2. So this is phase 2, then you're into phase 3, phase 4, and then back to phase 1. But if you look at, historically speaking, certainly this cycle, we're very much just rinse and repeating what took place in the last bull market and what led into it from a price action point of view. And I very much expect a similar outcome. In fact, we believe that Cardano potentially is going to see that $7 mark. Again, going back and relating to what I said at the start of the video with this kind of passive inflows of capital due to indexes and things like this, I think Cardano is going to appreciate from that, obviously given the fact or given its positioning in terms of market cap. And technically, guys, we literally just have history repeating once more. You can see you have this kind of double bottom. You get that break, that retest, and then continuation. Double bottom, break, retest. A little bit messy because, of course, Bitcoin, geopolitical uncertainty. You know, it's a great time. There's opportunities that are raised by all these things, but can often be a exhilarating ride when you have the likes of what's taking place. It affects the cryptocurrency space. I would say you're going to see a similar result in regards to this kind of price action coming. And we're expecting continuation in Bitcoin's trend, but the altcoin sector, and it could be pretty damn explosive. So I would expect you to bounce here, in and around here at least, and start to see continuation or a climb towards all-time highs. Remember, Cardano's all-time high was $13.13. This isn't the only chart that dictates that to me, though, however. Let's look at Cardano dominance. So this is Cardano's market share of the overall cryptocurrency space. It currently sits at 0.8%, so 4/5 of 1%. I believe this is going to around about 3.5%. Again, I think those larger cryptocurrencies are going to be what sucks in a hell of a lot of money. More so than smaller cryptos, and their market caps are going to get larger as a result of it. And that's likely going to be, again, due to the kind of institutional flow of money that ETFs are on the cusp of unlocking. But if we look technically again, we can see an inverse head and shoulders pattern. This perfectly in the previous cycle timed the high for ADA dominance at 4.4%. Then we've been in a downtrend. We're now basing out once again what we would look at as phase 1ing, and you're also putting in the same pattern. And we believe this could take you to 3.5% in regards to Cardano dominance. So we have Cardano from a US dollar point of view that looks to be repeating what led to the last bull market's major price action. We've got a similar thing showing up in regards to Cardano dominance, so Cardano's market share of the overall cryptocurrency space, and we very much have a similar thing setting up in regards to Cardano BTC. And you're likely going to see a similar resolve, in my opinion. Now, this is, of course, not financial advice. Do your own due diligence and research, but I do think the cryptocurrency market generally, and this wasn't a bad top caller, is on the cusp of something pretty monumental. And I'm saying that at a time when there's probably max uncertainty as it relates to the cryptocurrency space. But I do think that technically we've got all the merit for expecting continuation to the upside for Bitcoin and the altcoins to go along with it. So we are expecting and have technical targets for Cardano versus the US dollar, Cardano in terms of dominance, and Cardano in terms of BTC, all pointing at an upside move for Cardano, not just in dollar terms, in dominance terms, and also in relation to BTC, which, the ADA BTC and ADA progressing against BTC, a large part of that is going to be Cardano in terms of overall dominance progressing as Bitcoin currently has, 63% of the overall market parked within it. So these are three charts that look exceptionally good. I think Cardano is going to be a real beneficiary of the kind of passive flows that come in through indexes. There are some interesting events like midnight that you need to pay attention to, and a whole host of other things. We are going to get, and if you guys want us to interview anyone in the Cardano ecosystem, let us know in the comment section or get at me on Twitter and try and get in touch with us. We are going to get people to come on to talk about Hydra, to talk more about the layoffs paper and some of the implementations and things that are already happening with that. Maybe some governance stuff. And actually get people within the ecosystem on. We want to start covering aggressively a lot more sort of the builders within the cryptocurrency space. So that is really it from me. When it walketh, talketh, and quacketh like a duck, ladies and gentlemen, it's a duck. Interesting event coming up. I think Cardano, the whole space is on the cusp of institutional adoption through ETFs. And I also think when you look at the three charts that I've gave you, it all points towards Cardano moving to the upside against the dollar, Bitcoin, and in terms of its market share. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on this magnificent Friday. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed presenting it. See you all in the next one.